Devlog, take one. Boop, boop. Hello, friends, and welcome to my first ever Devlog, Devlog 1. Well, kind of. This is my first devlog, but it's my first devlog in this format. Previously, my devlogs were basically just pulled from my live streams, which was great. It worked out well, but I feel like maybe doing it like this will be better. When I say this, I mean this new format, which is not me just taking down what I made in the live streams and trying to compress it down into a little 10-minute video. What I'm going to do is I am going to actually go over my Trello board and just kind of show and highlight what I finished for the week. So, first off, this week, oh boy, what a week. There were so many bugs, but we're not going to talk about the bugs. We're not going to go over the bugs. Just know there were bugs and they were quashed. What we are going to go over is the actual things that we added to the game, the actual things that we finished in the game. So, starting with the level progression system. I have been working on this thing for probably 2 weeks now, and if you've been there with me through the live streams, you will know it has been a nightmare. Absolutely terrible. But we finally finished it. So, I'll probably put up on screen what the actual level progression system looked like before, but I am going to pull up the new system. This is the new, finally working level select screen. So, as you can see, the blue marks where the player's location currently is, and it gives you the choice to choose what dungeon, what room, whatever it's going to be, what floor you're going to next, and it will kind of give you, sorry about that, I think I just bumped my microphone, it'll give you a little bit of information of what that room is going to hold, whether it's extra monsters, just a plain old boring room, or if it's going to be a more loot-filled room. There's also the added potential for safe room, where you can heal, buy and sell dice, upgrade your spells, and all of that fun stuff. So, that is the first and the biggest thing that we took care of this week, and for you, it feels good to finally have that done, because that was not great. Not great. Finally also got a gameplay loop finally working, so you can go from dungeon to level select to safe room and then to the dungeon. So yeah. After that, we also created the safe room. So the safe room, in general, is just a place you can go to get healed, upgrade your loot, your spells, buy loot, sell loot, all that fun stuff. And so with that safe room, we had to create a shop system, we had to create a spellbook system, we had to create a quest system, all this fun stuff. So, starting with the safe room. In here is the default scene of the safe room. So, nothing crazy, nothing is set in stone, nothing is final. This is just the very basics. So, the default screen is the shop screen. So, you've got a buy and sell function. So, you've got some kind of vendor that will be selling and buying dice from you. And you can purchase the dice by clicking and dragging and moving them over to your inventory. Or, we also added a quick buy. So, you can just click them and they go over. Or a quick sell. You can click and sell them. It's a good time. The next thing that we added / updated was the spellbook. So I don't have a copy of the spellbook anymore, but I can put it up on screen so you can kind of see what it looked like before. I even made a whole short about how the spellbook was working originally, and then it just wasn't going to work out. But the short did great, so I guess it worked out in the end. But the spellbook now, we have a new concept where you will be able to combine different element types to the spells and kind of create your own spells. We're going to be working on that next week. So if you're interested in seeing where this monstrosity goes, or why it says fire, 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 tune into the live stream next week and you can see. So next up was the quest system. Now, the quest is a big one, and we're still not 100% done with the quest system, but right now, it randomly pulls from a database that we have of quests, and it lets you accept them, and it adds it to your little... There you go. Now you can see it. Right there. Adds them to your little quest tracker, so you can accept different quests, and it'll show them right there. So, yeah. Good times. Gotta disarm these traps. So anyway... They currently don't actually do anything, but eventually, next week, during the live streams, we are going to make them functional. And the big thing with the quest tracker was actually figuring out how we're going to build them into RPG Maker. So originally, we had just a whole bunch of variables that we were using to create the quests, right? And we were going to need so many freaking variables because you needed to have... I want to have a lot of different quests that you can accept. And I'm like, this is not something that's going to look great or work great in variables, so we need a better solution. So the solution was using RPG Maker's built-in database, which they do not have a built-in quest database, which is kind of stupid. I mean, it's an RPG. It should have a quest database. So what we're going to use is the skills database for the quest trackers. So basically, each one of these skills we're using as the quest. So the name is the full-length name of the quest. The description is the shorter little tracking description. And then you've got speed, which is going to be the reward, so how much gold you get. And the MP cost is your gold. The reason why I'm going with this is because TP cost maxes out at 100 for some reason, I don't know why. Success is 100%. Repeat, I think, maxes out at 9. TP gain is only 100 again. So Terrible, I don't know why those things max out at that, but they do. But speed, luckily, maxes out at 2,000, and MP cost maxes out at 9,999, which I was like, that is fantastic, that's probably all we need, so we're going with MP cost and speed. So that's the quest system. It works great, fantastic. So, the next big thing that we worked on was updating the dungeon inventory mechanics. This one was a little bit smaller of a project, but 2 weeks ago, we updated where the inventory was. It used to be down here, and it only used to be a 3x3 grid, and the character sheet was up here. And then we switched it recently to where, well, last week, we switched it to where the inventory system is up here, and you can now hold 3x5, which is 15, and I am really happy with that, but then we just had to make it more functional so you could actually use these last 3 slots, 6 slots, the last 2 lines of 3 slots. We made it so you could use that. So, more inventory space for mixing and merging these glorious dice. Fantastic. I was going to try and merge these dice as an example, but none of those are mergeable. Moving on. When we made the quest system use the database in RPG Maker, I then realized, what if we make the bestiary in the database as well, so we're not having to use a whole bunch of variables, which is what we were doing before. We had 500 reserved variables to be able to create 100 monsters, potentially. I don't know if we're actually going to have 100 monsters in the game, but I was like, hey, if we're going to have 100 monsters in the game, we got to make sure we have the variables set aside. And it sucked, because I always had this freaking huge block of just empty variables. So after this one, starting at 341, it was just this huge block of 500 variables just completely reserved for monsters, and it sucked. So what we ended up doing was kind of the same thing that we did with the quest using the skills database. RPG Maker actually has a database for enemies, so we decided to use that. It did take a little bit of finagling, and it was going into uncharted scary waters, which I very rarely go into with RPG Maker, but I had to use JavaScript to pull from a JSON table. Terrible stuff. Let me show you how it's done. So first up in the data, you have to pull up this enemies.json file, and if you come in here, you'll see all the enemies that you have in your database. So this is everything for the 4 enemies that I currently have. And in here towards the end, you've got a whole bunch of different, so you got like XP, traits, code, data ID, all this different stuff. But we don't need to worry about that. The stuff we need to worry about is the name and the parameters. Well, and the XP, but that's neither here nor there. The biggest things are the name and the parameters. Oh my goodness, where did I go? There we go, we're back to the name and parameters. So right up there, parameters. So I'm sure this looks a little bit weird, confusing, terrifying maybe even. I felt that same way, but it's actually not that bad. So over here, as you can see with the fire slime, you've got the name, and you've got all of these parameters. So 4, 1, 1, 12, 1, 1, 1, 1. Where have we seen those numbers before? That's right, over here. Fire slime. 4, 1, 1, 12, 1, 1, 1, 1. It's just these guys, just in a straight line, instead of, here, with names, so you know what you're looking at. So, what did we have to do to pull from this string, this table, this whatever you JSON knights call this thing? Glad you asked. Let's go into the JavaScript. So in the dungeon, when it's spawning a monster, it's going to run all of this JavaScript. It's just pulling information, setting information, nothing that crazy. I know it looks a little bit scary, but let's get into the actual meat and the potatoes. This guy right here. So this is setting an actor name. This is just a placeholder for the monster's name to the data enemies. The variable right here, you don't have to worry about that. It's just pulling the variable based on what monster is spawning. So if this is a 1, it's pulling the stuff from monster 1. If this variable is a 2, it's pulling the stuff from monster 2. That way I can actually randomly pull from monsters. So it's pulling the name, and then it's pulling from the params, 0, 0, so that's the HP. The reason why it starts with 0 is because in JSON tables, 0 is the starting number. So you don't do 1, as 1 would be a 1. You start with 0, which is 4, which is the HP. So it's going HP, HP, and then parameter 3, 2, and then XP. And it's pulling all this data, throwing it into 5 simple variables, and that's all we need for it to show on the screen a beautiful, beautiful monster. It's actually pretty ugly. That is a hideous slime. And yeah, that's everything that I did this week. I know it really doesn't sound like much once you kind of put it into a short list and you're just being like, this is what I did. But it was a lot. It was a big week. It was a lot of fun. I had so much fun streaming everything. I absolutely love being able to show this off to everybody and being able to chat back and forth to people who join in the live streams. So if you are new here, first of all, welcome. I really appreciate you watching, especially here until the end. But if you're interested in following this whole madness that I'm making in RPG Maker live, I'm streaming right now. Well, not right now, but I'm streaming daily, Monday through Friday. I stream from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So if you're available and you would like to watch either here on YouTube or over on Twitch, I stream over there as well. And yeah, we go through all of this. We talk, we chat, we laugh, we cry. We haven't cried yet, but maybe if you're there, maybe. So with all of that, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. Let me know what you liked or what you didn't like about the video. And yeah, I will see you all on the next live stream. So until then, farewell. like this is a really, really awkward outro. I think I should just like start scrolling fake Patreon names. Just be like, oh, look at that. Thank you, Jimbus. I appreciate the $500 that you donate every month. If only more people could be like Jimbus, I could do this full time. Oh, and there's Jackson P. Smith. Thank you, Jackson P. Smith. I really appreciate your donations. You're fantastic. Okay, bye.